1988. As all rugs are unique, we designed the cleaning of your rug to get the best possible outcome. We also offer stain protection repair and custom rug pads, including a moisture barrier pad protecting your floors from spills or pet accidents. Interior Care also cleans other surfaces such as carpet, upholstery, leather, and drapes. The training's up to you. Leave the cleaning to us.
Come live your best life at Eastridge Residence.
Okay, all you men out there, we're going to talk to you for a minute, and if you're a woman watching and you have a man in your life who you love, then you listen closely too, because the two rock stars in Chattanooga are back again with me this morning, Drs. Jeremy and Jermaine Hogstrom, who are twin brothers, as you can tell. More importantly, they are fantastic internists with CHI Memorial's Internal Medicine Associates and TikTok stars, thus the reference to the rock stars. So good to see you again.
Thank you for having us back.
So is this Men's Health Month? The month of June?
Yes, it is. Yep, it is.
Which we've had this conversation many times over the course of the years, and the answer does not seem to really change. Right. Men, as a general rule, tend to be reluctant about going to the doctor. Is that right, Jeremy?
Yeah, that is true. You know, oftentimes, more than not, it's usually their significant other that I see, or a daughter or a granddaughter that's kind of pushing them to get their screenings done. And that's great that we have that, but you know, we got to kind of change our mindset a little bit and get a little bit more proactive ourselves. And to be honest, I've seen it sometimes, even within my own self, being a little bit reluctant to do some things, but it's important, and screenings are important.
So Jermaine, is it important that men learn to listen to their gut? Women are pretty good, I think, about following their gut feeling. Maybe men don't get as in tuned.
Yeah, it's very important because you know your body best, and you oftentimes can feel that something is not quite right. And when that happens, it's important that you are able to motivate yourself to go out and see your doctor. You know, and I see a lot of men that have not had a doctor in years, or maybe not even their whole life. But it is very important that you do get out and go see them.
Within your practice at Internal Medicine Associates, are you intended to be a primary care doctor for your patients?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we focus a lot on screenings, especially during our wellness, our preventative health visits, screenings of all types. And we try to go through and check all the boxes and address each and everything because they're crucial.
So one of those, I'm guessing, is prostate screenings. Okay. First of all, at what age does that need to start for men?
Right, so it varies, but according to the American the American Cancer Association, they recommend for average risk starting around the age of 50, but 45 if you have a first degree relative that has prostate cancer, and even earlier, starting at the age of 40 if you have multiple first-degree relatives that have prostate cancer.
So conversation, I'm guessing, Jermaine, is a big part of this because those PSA levels, which from what I understand are kind of your marker, they're not always completely cut and dry.
Correct. And they can be elevated for multiple reasons. They can be elevated due to an enlarged prostate if you have inflammation or infection of the prostate. So it is very important to keep that in mind when you're talking with your doctor about it.
So you come in, you get the screening.
Yep.
If you do have numbers that are elevated, does that immediately send someone to oncology?
Right, so oftentimes it depends on how high, and sometimes we'll kind of trend it ourselves over a couple of different months, and then we'll see, is it going up or is it going down and resolving? If it resolves, then we're usually okay. If it's kind of staying higher or going higher and higher, oftentimes we will send them to urology, and oftentimes urology will then begin the process of consideration for either biopsy or they want to do imaging with MRI to get a better look at the prostate as well.
Is that something that just happens, or are there lifestyle habits that can lead to prostate issues?
So in general, there are the risk factors, such as African American men do in general have a higher risk factor. Okay. Family history is a big risk factor, and oftentimes I often encourage my patients to really try to abstain from smoking. Really be careful with alcohol intake and those kind of things.
The healthy lifestyle.
The healthy lifestyle. It always starts with lifestyle.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you something else that starts with lifestyle, and I was pleased when y'all said I want to talk about this a little bit too, and that's mental health.
Yeah.
We don't think about that with men as much, but men can kind of quietly carry some heavy burdens on their shoulders.
Yeah. Very, very true. So, mental health issues are very prevalent among men more often than they are talked about. So, there's a statistic that showed that in 2020, men died by suicide at a rate that was 4 times higher than women. So, kind of going back to what we were saying earlier, sometimes men are a little bit more reluctant to open up about their issues, but the issues are there.
When you're talking about mental health, I'm taking y'all down a road you might not be comfortable, so kick me off of it if you want to. But when you're talking about mental health, I think we tend to think about anxiety, depression, this kind of thing. But if a man is struggling with a lot of pressures, the stress of that can also create physical symptoms as well, but that's still a mental thing that's showing up in a physical way. Am I saying that
Correct.
right?
Yeah, and this is seen all the time, especially when talking about anxiety or panic attacks, panic episodes that oftentimes drive somebody to the ER. And because they think they're having a heart attack, they might think they might be having pulmonary embolism, they can't breathe, they're short of breath, all of these things. And that's just one of many different ways that mental health can affect your physical body. So
Okay, I've got about a minute left. When people call to make appointments, obviously male or female, you can come to their practice.
Absolutely.
But do you value, I think it's interesting that y'all both ended up choosing this route. It wasn't a coordinated, planned effort, I don't think. Maybe it was, but
somewhat.
they even did that in unison. Did y'all catch it? Somewhat. Do y'all encourage, though, relationship building within your practice with your patients?
Yeah, I really do want my patients to open up to me. I really do try to create a really safe environment where they feel comfortable being able to do that. And we always make sure not to judge. Everyone has different things that are going on in their lives. So I really want them to be comfortable with me.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just as simple as asking them how their day is going, how their life is going, how was the weekend. You're really trying to start off the encounter just, really getting to know them and not necessarily diving straight into the medicine. So
yeah, there's an old story I'm sure you've heard about somebody going into the office and they've got these problems and the doctor says, well, what's going on? And they begin to rattle off, oh, nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just this crazy life they're living, and that's where you really learn
Very true.
what the origin might be.
that is true.
It's always a pleasure to see y'all.
You as well.
Doctors Jeremy and Jermaine Hogstrom with CHI Memorial Internal Medicine Associates, translated into your primary care doctor. On Hickson Pike, their phone number 875-0999, and of course you can learn more on Memorial Hospital's website there on your screen. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Julia, what are you doing? We have a commercial to film.
I'm taking a break.
Breaks are what we're telling people about. Budget breaks.
Visit budgetbreaks.com for locations and coupons.